Hello, Wootton students. My name is Josh Freedman, and on today's COVID CareVid, I'm going to be interviewing Ms. Hanson, both head of the Arts and Humanities program and one of our AP seminar and AP research teachers. Ms. Hanson, how are you doing today?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. So to start off, how can students make the most of their time in arts and humanities during the virtual learning?
I think one of the best ways that students can kind of take advantage of, being in a program like this is making sure that, especially in their section classes, for example, if they're taking, Mrs. Stepling, either her A-Push class or Honors U.S. History class, or, Miss Cresham's AP class, really making the most of being in that class with the other students. It's one of the reasons that we put the students together as a cohort, especially during 9th and 10th grade years, is because they really, I think, get to know each other during those classes, and especially for the freshmen, really begin to make friends among students who have who have the same interests as they do. And I think one of the best things about those classes is that, the teachers are super engaged, the students are super engaged. And I think, just being willing to, to add to the discussion and be part of that, that kind of rich environment, I think is really one of the best ways to take advantage of it.
Definitely. And for AP seminar and AP research students, how have lessons adapted to be more suitable for remote learning?
Well, this year with AP Seminar, I'm working with Ms. Kaplan and Mr. Bentley. He's a science teacher, as you know. And what we've really been able to do is kind of work together to move our lessons from in-person to online. And because there's 3 of us now, it's, we get to kind of share the workload. Let me give you an example of how we've changed things. Because we have the Wednesday flex day and asynchronous learning, one of the things that we've learned to do is to create a PowerPoint and then do a screencastify, so that we're still kind of continuing the learning, but it's asynchronous. And so trying to make sure that those are engaging and interesting to the students, that's a really important aspect. In terms of, some of the other activities, I'll just give you an example from today. In AP Seminar, in the past, in fact, you might remember this, Josh, we took a field trip to the bridge,
Yeah.
the bridge over the Commons, and, we had the kids do a line of reasoning activity, and so they were physically engaged in, holding papers and trying to talk to each other and figuring out where they were supposed to stand. So what we did is we adapted that to an online atmosphere where we had a breakout room for the kids, and we gave them PowerPoints where they had to figure out how to put the slides in order. So for a line of reasoning lesson, it wasn't physical, but it was definitely something where they had to really think through and how to put things together. And then as a follow-up, we had them put their materials in our discussion group, and then they had to look at how other groups put their PowerPoints together and comment on the differences and why people were doing what they were doing. So I will say we're spending a lot of time planning, because I'm the only AP research teacher right now. I'm finding that I'm spending a lot of time planning how to go from the kinds of things we were doing in class to, in AP research, there's a little more, I want to say it's not free time, but it's independent time for the students to work while I'm available to talk with them. And when you're in class, that's not a big deal. But when you're online, it is different. We only have 2.5 hours or so a week instead of, what, about 4? And so I'm trying to use my face-to-face time as best I can, but then meet with students outside of class time. And I'm about to start my second round of individual meetings with students where we talk about their projects. And I use a Sign Up Genius for that. So, and that's not in class time. So it's just a different allocation of time and energy is what it comes down to.
So what do you expect of students as they take an AP seminar or an AP research class virtually this year?
You know, I think that I don't know that I have any different expectations than other AP teachers. My expectation is that the students will be engaged, that they'll be on time, that they'll do their work. I mean, all those really good things. I think especially with my AP research students, once we get into into their individual projects and they're really working on those, I really expect them to be doing that work on their own. And, you know, it's always a little nerve-wracking working with students who are doing independent work. Nerve-wracking in the sense that, you know, sometimes students won't come to you if they're having problems. And then by the time you find out, it's a little too late. So I definitely expect my students to be in contact with them about whatever it is that they're working on, making sure that they've kind of hit all the benchmarks along the way with what they have to do for the project. I think it comes down to engagement, you know, and again, I'm not really sure that's different from other AP teachers, so.
And what can students who are planning on taking an AP seminar or an AP research course in the future do right now to best prepare themselves for the courses?
You know, I think one of the best things that AP seminar students can do, and AP research, but AP research is a follow-on of seminar. To me, one of the best entrances into this program is to start listening to the news, start paying attention to what's going on politically, what's going on environmentally, you know, what are the current issues that we're facing in the world? Because at the end of the day, in seminar, that's what you do. That's actually one of the great parts of the class is that kind of once we get through the skill learning, kids get to choose their topics by and large. And so being able to kind of make informed choices about what they want to study, I think is really important. So, you know, download the Associated Press app, download the Washington Post app, you know, watch the news, do all those kinds of things. And hang on just a second. Do all those, you know, do all those kinds of things so that they can, when they get to class, they can be informed and, you know, knowledgeable students. It's a really important aspect, and hopefully they're already doing that in APNSL, but just being keyed into events.
Great. And you mentioned that you're going to have individual meetings with students who might need them, but what are some other additional resources students can really take advantage of if they cannot attend office hours or feel like they need more time than office hours?
Do you mean in terms of meeting with the teacher?
Yes, in terms of like getting help, extra help, or yeah, just meeting with the teacher.
Yeah. You know, I think one of the ways that I found really helpful is having the students keep in email contact with me, at least to lay out, you know, and I know it's hard sometimes to set up, you know, a time where you can talk, but, you know, doing emails so that you can at least get, here are my issues, here are the things that I need to talk about. And, you know, we're not supposed to meet with students one-on-one outside of class time if the parents don't know. You know, so that's something, you know, that you have to plan, but doing that, you know, making sure that parents know that you want to meet with the teacher outside of class time, and then, you know, and then doing that. And it does take some effort, on the part of both the teacher and the student. But I always find that I'm intensely motivated. You know, when a student wants to meet with you, that's important. So you have to figure out a way to do it. So I think that having Zoom is really helpful. Having Remind, you know, as an app is really helpful. So, and not being shy about it. You know, making sure that you reach out. And, you know, if I could say anything to any of the students, it would probably be, don't hide from your problems. You know, face what your issues are, you know, in a class, and contact the teacher, because hiding doesn't get you anywhere. You know, it's one of the worst things you can do. So make sure that you are trying to advocate on behalf of yourself and reach out for help.
I definitely agree. And last but not least, do you have any advice for students during these unprecedented times?
Okay, I'm going to put on my Mama Hanson hat. You know, I think one of the things that I have noticed about, I guess, being in quarantine for the last few months, 6 months, but who's counting? I think one of the things that's really important is reaching out and making sure that you stay in contact with the people you care about. You know, making sure that you're, you know, when you're in a house, of course you're doing that, but, you know, reaching out to friends, reaching out to extended family members, making sure that people feel cared for. It's one of the things that I've, again, noticed during this time is that, you know, you get into your home, you're online, you're doing work, you tend to be so isolated. And I think that that's, you know, especially for teenagers, but, you know, I've noticed it, you know, being isolated like that is not a healthy way to be. So trying to make sure that you reach out and, you know, take care of other people as well as taking care of yourself. And I think another way to really help with that is to find something that you're really passionate about in doing that. You know, one of the things that I've discovered during the quarantine is that I really, really like yoga. I never had done it before, and all of a sudden I'm doing it every day or every other day. And it takes my mind off of, you know, all the different things that are going on, and, you know, gives me that space to kind of rejuvenate. Walking, you know, running, doing physical activity, that kind of thing. I think that's really important.
Well, thank you very much for your time and for being a part of COVID CareVids.
Well, thank you for asking me.
My pleasure.
All right.